I don't want to get into the details of it, but suffice it to say that the medical examiner has been on the scene with all the proper personnel, and they'll do what needs to be done. And again, primarily what we're looking at right now is the positive ID, so we can give some closure to people.
I walked around the firehouse. It's like, maybe she's in there. Maybe she's there.
Yeah, I must have done 100 laps.
I knew exactly what she was wearing. I knew I was going to see her little ponytail come around the corner, and her jacket and her black glittery Uggs that she had on that morning, and I knew I was going to see her, and I didn't.
There was still hope that
because
the children were hiding.
They finally, around 1:15, asked everybody to sit down, and they said that it was a tragic day in Newtown today, and 20 children were killed. And they still didn't tell me my little girl was gone. Got into her bed that she'd just gotten out of. And we just stayed in bed. It's still not real that my little girl, who's so full of life and who wants a horse so badly and who's gonna get cowgirl boots for Christmas, isn't coming home.
They say the pain is just settling in.
Are you angry?
That hasn't registered to me. The killer's face, the name, everything. I see through it right now.
I just want to keep talking about her and all the things she loved to do.
She was their 6-year-old family powerhouse, forever their angel.
I found a little journal, and I don't even know when it's from, but I just opened the book, and it was exactly what I needed, because it says, "I love you so much, Mama." It's like she knew that we were going to need something to help us get through this. That's just like what an amazing little girl she was.
Jessica was just 6 years old, and her funeral is tomorrow. And I wanted to share a behind-the-scenes story because before this interview began, we were looking at baby pictures of Jessica with the family. And I said, "Oh, what day was she born? Well, when was she born?" And they told me May 10th, 2006. And that is the day I gave birth to my daughter. And I felt such a connection to Krista. Airing gave birth on the same day, and now her daughter was never coming home. And the impact of it was I felt it right here.
And you could see it in their face.
We've endured too many of these tragedies in the past few years. And each time I learn the news, I react not as a president, but as anybody else would, as a parent. The majority of those who died today were children. Beautiful little kids between the ages of 5 and 10 years old.
To come to the microphone so we'll listen in. Okay. My name's Robbie.
I see through it right now.
My family is one of the families that lost a child yesterday in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shootings here in Connecticut. As the deep pain begins to settle into our hearts, we find comfort reflecting on the incredible person that Emily was.
Although she does not appear in any of the class photos, the media claims that 6-year-old Emily Parker on the right was shot in the Sandy Hook massacre. Here she is shown with her parents along with her 3- and 4-year-old sisters. But the story that she was killed at Sandy Hook is not possible because here she is sitting on the president's lap after the shooting. But since Emily was not supposed to be in the picture with the president, she remained in the same dress. From left to right is Emily, her father, the president, her mother, her sister, and the family law attorney that claims to be her aunt.
There's been a fund that was set up by members of our families and friends back in Utah that people have been donating to, and we would like to thank all of you for your donations to that. We're hoping to be able to use that to bring Emily back to Utah for her final resting place with her family there. And we want to thank all of you who made those donations. I will turn this to Robbie Parker.
She had been practicing these songs, and we sang them to her because she was unable to sing them to us. Emily was an example to not only her big sisters, to her family, to all her little friends. Emily was an example to not only her big sisters, Emily was an example to not only her big sisters, Emily was an example to not only her big sisters, and now she's become an example to the world about purity, innocence, tragedy, and forgiveness.
This is Enter the Stars. Folks, we have a dozen or so graphic designers that have chimed in on the prequel to this video with over 100 years of experience that basically have corroborated my findings. First, in this first clip here, we're going to look at Mom's hair, and you can see right where her part is that her hair is out of place and sticking up. You can see it a lot better in the high-res image here versus the low-res where we could not see this hair sticking up. And this is what I was trying to allude to in the last video, that no person's hair is perfectly, combed down to where no hairs would stick up. There's always some artifact present. In this next part of the photo, again, more artifacts of the hair kind of out of place, clearly seen around the edge of her hairline. And in this third one, in her sister's hair, again, the same thing. So just because she's a child doesn't mean Emily's hair is perfectly smoothed down. You can see in her sister's hair we have the same type of thing that can clearly be seen here. Now if we look at Emily's hair and we compare it to her mom's and her sister's, there's not one hair out of place, not one around the entire hairline. This child was cut and pasted into this photo. Now here's a smoking gun. Look on the left side here of her hair. There's a straight line. That's not possible with organic elements in a photo. It's not possible. The line goes straight down, and upon magnifying it, you can see there's no pixel deviation from that straight line. It's as if it was completely chopped straight down. Now, next we have all the other images on the horizon are in focus except where Robbie's knee borders Emily. It's all blurred. Now, why do you think that is? I've blown it up so you can see it a lot better, but you see Emily's figure behind the knee. Robbie's knee should be in complete focus, as are all of the other images on the horizon, and it's not. And last but not least, we have what we graphic designers call an artifact. And what it is it represents 100% proof that a photo was cut, cropped, and or altered. Look in the middle of your screen and you can see a kind of the jumbled mess of shadowing and lines around her little sister's hand. And I'm going to blow this up now so you can see it even more clearly. That's called an artifact. That is evidence of cutting and pasting, and for some reason the graphic designer forgot to adjust that. And so we have clear evidence. Now the interesting thing is, why is that happening with her sister's hand? That's the interesting thing, because looking at the rest of her sister's image, I could not find any evidence around her sister that she was manipulated in any way. Only Emily. But in this instance, you can see her sister was manipulated in this particular part of the photo, and only this part of the photo, for her sister. So anyway, folks, this is it. I don't know what to tell you, but this is clear evidence.
I happened to run across a woman who had tears in her eyes, and she was being led by two younger women, and I asked if she was okay. It turns out she was the school nurse at Sandy Hook Elementary and was for 15 years. She described the gunman coming into her office. They met eyes, she jumped under her desk, and he inexplicably just walked out. Just absolutely chilling, horrifying details that are emerging here in Newtown tonight. But I did ask if it was known around this school that this young man, apparently a kindergarten teacher's son, was an issue, whether he had any problems, and she said not at all. And I asked if she knew the suspect's mother, and she said she did, and that she was an absolutely loving person and a very caring, experienced kindergarten teacher, just the kind of person you would want with your 5-year-old children.
And we are joined now by another survivor of this tragedy, the school nurse, Sally Cox. Thank you for coming in this morning. And I know this is difficult, but take us back to that moment. When did you first know something had gone wrong?
Hearing loud popping noise, I mean, just something I've never heard in my life. And your mind doesn't think that it could be that. But when the secretary called out to me, with terror in her voice, it just told me there was something terrible happening.
And that's when you went under the desk?
My computer desk, yes.
And while you're under there, you actually see the feet of the shooter?
There's an opening in the back for wiring, and as I was crouching down, I could see my doorway. I was looking, and I could see him from the knees down, see the legs.
Right in front of you?
20 feet away. Facing his boots were facing my desk.
And then he turned and walked away?
And then it was seconds, and then turned and walked out, and I heard the door close.
Okay, so the door closes, what do you do next?
After the door closed, I don't know how the secretary had the courage to, but she did. She raced into my office and pulled the door closed and raced behind my desk. And then we pulled the phone off my desk, and I held the phone while she dialed 911.
And then right after that, you actually lock yourselves in the
Then we
closet?
raced into my supply closet and pulled the door closed.
And you were there for the next 4 hours?
Nearly, yeah. It was 1:15 before, we were petrified, and we didn't know how many there could have been. And we were listening. You couldn't hear a whole lot, but we did. I mean, we heard screaming and the gunshots. And
I know the police shielded you as you left, so
yes,
you wouldn't see what happened.
Right. They told us to close our eyes. They said, close your eyes.
And then we just wanted to get out of there. And then we just ran into my big supply closet. And we ran into the closet. We pulled that door closed. So we were behind 2 locked doors. And we could just hear the popping continue, and we heard screams. There's nothing we could do, It was just a helpless, horrible feeling, and just like a nightmare that couldn't believe that, I just think it's a bad dream. After some time, I think it was about 11:15, so we had been in that closet for about an hour and a half. I opened the door and I peeked out because my office has a lot of windows and looks into the courtyard, and I just saw what looked like maybe SWAT people, but I didn't know, who they were. I didn't know if there were other shooters. And it wasn't until about 1:15 when somebody was jiggling the door, and but nobody called out. So I decided to be brave enough and open that door into the office, and a lot of state police officers were there at that point, and they were very surprised to see me.
You were in the closet for about 4 hours.
Close to it, yeah. Just fearful.